Sorry, we did record about an hour of us talking about this movie, but it technical difficulties on the road prevent us from doing certain things, and the internet went out a little bit, so we are reprimanding this with a little recap, a tiny little recap of the movie. Welcome to Two Hippies, One Drunk. As always, joining me is Eric Fady.
Oh, hello. I will admit on this redo,
we're getting increasingly drunk, and we're just trying to find another way to talk about this movie for another half hour.
Right, we have dipped into the wine a little more this time,
definally. And then Scott Ryan,
right here,
do it.
This guy,
Scott Ryan.
We're talking about the Lost World. It feels a little bit like we're in fucking Groundhog's Day.
Keeps going back and back. At least we know better now.
Which, by the way, is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
Groundhog Day is a
great movie. Can we talk about Groundhog's Day?
No, it's Lost World today, baby.
Watch that first step. It's a doozy.
So
anyone will know that line if they like the movie.
Eric has never seen it.
Okay, real quick. In the first time, I quizzed Eric on whether Vince Vaughn had ever been funny, and he couldn't come up with a time. This is your Groundhog's Day chance to redeem yourself. When was Vince Vaughn funny? You're getting a second shot.
Well, for one, Dodgeball.
He wasn't funny in Dodgeball. Yeah. Ben Stiller was funny in Dodgeball. The side characters were funny. What did he do that was funny? What did he say?
I'm not going to lie this. So here's the deal. Sorry to do this, Tyler. I'm going to take over. I'm going to take over a little bit. Here's the deal. Like he said, we had some technical difficulties. We had just recorded 45 minutes or almost an hour, actually, of an episode. We're going to attempt to try to re-talk about Lost World. It's a little hard because we've literally already had the conversation. Yeah. But I don't want it to go off the rails. I want it to still be somewhat
a convenient excuse.
Exactly. Okay. Good enough.
I'm going to keep us on that track by, you've never seen this movie. What were your first impressions?
Again,
not again.
What were your first impressions again?
Right. No, my impressions were overall that I liked it. As said to you guys, I did not have, because I never really saw the first one. I might have seen it once fully, a few different times, halfway, different parts. I didn't hold that in some esteem where I was like, this isn't one. I remember liking what I saw of one, I guess, later in my older age. Point is, I would say that overall I liked this. I thought it was a tick too long, 10, 15 minutes, but, that's kind of here and there. And overall, I liked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I felt like I think that every Jurassic Park movie gets worse than the previous one. And the second one is not quite as good as the first, but it's actually like a really solid movie, and it's really underrated. I've always felt that way. It's got a lot of horror elements to it, which is great. It's very dark. It has a great cast, including Vince Vaughn in his best role, because he's not required to be funny in this movie, and he's not funny.
I'll give you that he killed it in this role, and he wasn't supposed to be the jokey guy. He did a great job of being like the Greenpeace rebel, like kind of thing. Is really what he was pulling off.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Tyler, I think honestly, even though I know it seems kind of corny to us, maybe not as extensive, but would you like to do just maybe a tone down?
Just a little recap. Yeah. Okay. So the recap of this movie would be that Hammond, the guy who funded the whole first movie, reaches out to Malcolm to have him be on a team to research this other island they had that had other dinosaurs that they just let roam and breed and do whatever they want. He gets coaxed into it because his girlfriend's there. His daughter sneaks on the trip with him, and they go there. A bunch of dinosaurs, fucking danger ensues.
Let me ask you this: it seems like, from my recollection of watching it just a few hours ago, that this was about 20 years after the year. It's like, is it supposedly in that?
No, it's about 5 years because 1993.
Well, no, but
the first movie.
I understand that, but in the movie, I felt like at one time they act like in the movie?
It is supposed to be 10 years after the first.
Okay. So we didn't even talk about this in the first one, so maybe this will be good. I wonder, it doesn't seem like they really explain what's been happening for 10 years. They just have an island that was a secondary island to the first. And it's just, and do humans know that this is going on?
Yeah. How exactly didn't the events of the first movie mean we got to shut this bitch down?
But wait a minute though.
They did shut it down.
For one, you say that they didn't know, but in the beginning, and I'm bad with character names, but Jeff Goldblum, what's his character name again?
Ian Malcolm.
Ian Malcolm is on like a subway. There's a guy saying, "Hey man, I believed you," and then he walks into that place, and there's talk of like, confidential agreements and that people said stuff. So it sounds like to me like they didn't just tell everybody, "Hey, there's an island of dinosaurs."
Yeah, I'm thinking that they didn't. I think that they kept that shit on the DL, like just a company covering up their mistake.
I mean, that was what it felt like. And okay, I actually didn't get a chance to tell this story the first time, and so just to add a little new flavor to it, some of these guys haven't heard, or they may have. Tyler, I think, has heard this before, but I very distinctively know that Jeff Goldblum's character is named Ian Malcolm because I used to have a job where I would take mentally disabled people kind of out into the community and
a job, or that's what. Are you sure it was a job?
Yeah, it might have just been. Yeah, these were just my friends. Well, I'm currently working the job.
Right.
No. But I had this autistic guy who was obsessed with Jurassic Park, and he used to steal his mom's phone, and he would send me shit where he would be he would send a shot of like a T-Rex chasing Jeff Goldblum's character, and then he would be like, "Oh no, T-Rex gonna get you, Ian Malcolm." And because of that, I will remember Jeff Goldblum's character till the day I die.
Mental illness is funny, kids. But anyway,
and memorable.
It's endearing and wholesome. He would walk. We would be walking in the store, and he would just start doing like a T-Rex thing with his hands, and I'd have to be like, "All right, Mitchell, no, you're not a T-Rex. You're a young man."
I mean, perception is reality.
Yeah. I don't know what he was seeing. His little T-Rex arms are taking over.
Yeah.
Did he like the second movie?
He was really okay. He used to sit in the library and just rewatch particularly the raptor scene from the first movie.
Weird.
Just over and over and over again for like 2 hours.
This may be an inappropriate question, but was it at all sexual, do you believe? Or
yeah, did he really like the dinosaurs?
No, I could get into it. There were definitely times where where it was sexual. I had another guy who used to always get Shakira albums from the library and go in the bathroom with the booklet covers. But no, in this case, it was not sexual at all.
Okay. Tyler, I'm trying to think of
what is this? Are we pulling the mic now?
We're just trying to get it so everybody gets to hear it.
I don't know if y'all know how sound works, but it works better when it's.
We didn't do this for the first hour.
Yeah,
it's something that I just figured might not be a terrible idea.
That's what the benefit of a Groundhog Day situation is. You learn. That means we can unmute it.
Okay.
Hey!
Okay. Woo. Yeah.
All right. Let me just say real quick here. Okay. Sorry again. We are just some stuff that we've done this thing. We've been on the road for 2 weeks, and it's like we don't have a massive budget. So not making excuses, but we're just learning how to do things and what's working, what's not working. So bear with us.
It's been a real learning experience doing this on the road.
So anyway, okay.
Let's keep it going. One of the other things, like we told you before, we kind of had this conversation, but we can do the highlights of it. One of the highlights I really liked is Eric brought up a scenario, because in this movie, a guy he's in a situation where you're like, at what point do you stop helping someone for your own risk factor?
So the scenario in this movie, Jurassic Park, where the Lost World, where
to read it on the screen.
Read it on the screen because I'm terrible with words and names. But there's a scene in this movie, and it's kind of a typical movie scene, to be honest with you. It really could be any movie other than Jurassic Park. But a lot of the main characters are on this bus. It gets pulled off a cliff, or it's hanging by a thread, as kind of in a way. And some guy is trying to save them, and he's doing a very good job. Eventually, a few T-Rex come and attack him, and he basically, to his death, tries to save these people. And I pose this to them that, where is this guy's role as far as when is he okay to just go, dude, I tried my best, but I'm about to die too. And then I also end up kind of posing what is the thinnest level of relations would it be that you'd have to be connected to someone else to save them, to risk your own life? And so I know those are two questions, but just kind of that's what we were discussing.
Yeah, and kind of the thing that it really comes down to is, first of all, in the context of the film, there's no point where he goes from being basically completely safe to 2 T-Rex show up, and at that point you're already dead. So whatever. But so we were imagining more a scenario of you hear them coming in the distance and you've got a minute or two.
Yeah, you got.
In which case, I'm dropping my friends. I'm dropping my extended family. I'm probably dropping my mom and dad, to be completely honest.
Grandparents,
you know what?
I
gotta preserve the next generation. They're not gonna preserve it, so it's gotta be me, right? And if I had a wife and kid, I would probably save that.
Probably, he says.
I would.
Yeah, I'd say straight up, I would do that.
Let me ask you this, then. You bring up kid. Let's just say you had an asshole kid. And he's not going.
A real fail.
Real dick.
He's not going anywhere. I'm sorry. I know. You never know in second chance. But you know this kid ain't going nowhere.
A real Bobby Hill.
Right.
Real AJ Soprano.
Right.
Okay.
Do you think in reality that would play into your decision making of your own life?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you can always make another one.
Yeah.
They're pretty easy.
And if you made one, you can make another one.
It might be a little bit of a relief.
Right.
It might be hey, okay, get a redo.
For one, also, it's very fun to make kids, from what I know. The process is rather enjoyable.
You're gonna need a new kid pod. You're gonna need a new kid pod because also you're dropping your wife in this scenario.
Yeah.
Tyler, did
a whole new thing.
Where did
kid pod is what you called that woman? You heard it here first. Scott calls women kid pods.
No, okay. I'm putting myself in the head of somebody who's about to be willing to drop their wife and their kid to their death.
This is a real Me Too friendly episode.
Yeah.
Tyler,
this never happened in the first episode.
No, I think some of it's a little slap happy, and we're trying to. And some of this,
a little drink.
Some of this free timeshare wine might be helping.
Yeah, it's definitely an influence.
Tyler, where did you sit on the aspect of saving people?
I would say if it was my parents, I'd stick around for a minute. Even if I heard them coming, I'd be I'll stay for a minute.
Maybe try to tie it to a tree.
Yeah, try to tie it to a tree. Do as much as I possibly can, but I'm getting out of there.
Yeah.
If I have 2 minutes. And if it's anybody else, I'm immediately running the second I hear them.
I mean, wife and kid you're saving, right?
Wife and kids, hands down, I'm sticking. I'm going to sacrifice myself. I'm getting eaten by those T-Rexes.
Yeah. And that the thing is, I do think, even in a situation like we mentioned, if you're a good person and you do your best, there is a point where I think you're allowed to say, dude, my life is in danger. I did my best. But I think in a real situation, you would deal with it the rest of your life. You're not just going to sit there and be well,
it's hilarious too, because this guy has no ties to these people. He doesn't really give a shit about them at all. And he
honestly does, though.
They have not villainized him at all. He just gets eaten in one of the most horrific ways possible. Ripped apart.
See, if it were me, I would really have a hard time dealing with it for 6 months, and then I would be you know what, they want me to live my best life. That's what they would have wanted. They want me to be like banging hookers and doing coke. Like, and just really steer into it at that point.
I do always love when people say like, "Oh, they would have so and so died. Like, they would have wanted me to still be playing golf on Sundays." No, they want. Is that what they would have wanted? They want to be alive. They don't.
They're sitting up there like from the afterlife, like, no.
Yeah, that's not what I want. It doesn't help me.
Something we brought up in earlier, also in our first attempt at this, was that they go to San Diego, and it's interesting just because we recently were in San Diego ourselves, so we have a little more knowledge of the city than we would have before. And it's like it was odd to all of us that they make a point, because this is a fictional island that they are on. I mean, even though it is filmed in Hawaii, and when they show it, it's literally Hawaii, but they don't say it's Hawaii in the movie. So they could claim that it's located anywhere on the globe. They choose San Diego, and they don't do anything that distinguishes it. Like, they don't go to the San Diego Zoo, like Scott kind of mentioned, or like maybe go to the baseball stadium, right? And like, T-Rex is get crazy. There's a baseball game going on.
It's just some random street.
They have T-Rex running through like a gay pride parade.
Right? No, seriously. What's San Francisco?
Wrong place again.
I mean,
Scott has no knowledge of where we are at any point.
Well, I think Scott's a little.
We were in a very gay part of town in San Diego for an afternoon.
Well, yes, every city usually has a pride kind of zone.
Okay, well, that's what I'm saying.
We were in the pride zone.
Yeah, for sure. But anyway, we all thought that was a little interesting. And it's funny because I don't think I would have thought anything of it if it weren't that we were just in San Diego a few days ago. Yeah. And it was something like it was fresh in our mind's eye, if you will. And but it was like, it's weird. They chose San Diego and nothing about it said San Diego. Which is
like, why isn't somebody trying to escape from the T-Rex and getting confused by the insane traffic laws?
That's the experience we
had. Like, do I go? It looks like it's green, but everybody's honking at me. I don't know what to do.
I was gonna say too, Eric had mentioned before you guys about this on the secret episode you guys don't know about. We talked about how like we did just go to Hawaii, and this is where they filmed a lot of these the first two movies, and like it really was cool kind of going down that nostalgia of like, oh, that's from there, because it really did look like it when we were out there.
Well, having gone through it now, like it's like I have my favorite movies, and most of them aren't as like Back to the Future. It was just a set on Hollywood. Now I've actually been there, but it was just a set. So knowing you now, how I know that this is one of your favorite movies, I think that it must have been really cool to be on Hawaii. And on my end, now watching it, I did watch it going, holy, because Hawaii is just it's a unique setting of what it looks like. It's never, at least for me, it's nothing I've ever seen before. Yeah, jungle mountains and in this small little island in the middle of the Pacific that I've never seen before.
You associated it more with Lost, which was also filmed on Hawaii.
True. And when I was walking around, or when we were driving through these parts that look like it, you're like, yes, this is what Lost would look, or almost any other movie you've ever seen where someone washes up on shore, right? So my point is, like, now watching it, that was very cool. And I bet for you, I didn't appreciate how cool that probably was for you.
No, it was such especially flying in, like seeing the like mist and shit like this. It felt like we were coming into one of these islands and there was going to actually be dinosaurs. Like I said,
there was definitely a point where Tyler and I were doing the Jurassic Park theme in the car.
Yeah, and you have to. It's I feel like if you don't, you failed as a person. But I went on a hike one time and there was a goat just like making noise in the middle of this jungle, and I was waiting for the T-Rex, and it was fucking awesome, like, and terrifying, honestly, because these movies hold this weird place in my head where it's like they scare the shit out of me, but I also love them so very much. So like being in that had that same vibe, and it was awesome.
And they are horror films. The first two are flat out. I don't know what, like, if you're trying to call them an adventure film or whatever, it's like, no, they have the beats of horror films. This one in particular, it's a slasher movie.
I was gonna say, I would, from my smaller memory of one, I think one was still more of like, you could classify as action with some
like adventure,
with some edgy moments.
The whole back half is horror.
Okay,
I would say
of one even.
Of one.
Okay,
and the beginning scene, the one where they're transporting the T-Rex.
No, the raptor.
Like, the rap is it a raptor?
It is a raptor.
It's a raptor. Okay, yeah. Like that's a. I remember as a kid watching that, being like scared of that.
Okay, that's fair. This one to me, like I said, you guys know it a little more than I do, but this one definitely to me was borderline horror. Like, if I had been a kid watching this, I would have been scared.
I was 9 years old, and I remember watching it in the theaters, being like, I don't think I'm supposed to be allowed to watch this.
Absolutely. I was not allowed to watch it, and I had to sneak it at my cousin's house. That's how it went down for me.
And something we got into earlier that we Tyler usually likes to bring up in movie review situations is plot holes. Yeah. And I think we all agreed, like, we kind of said, like, in sci-fi movies, especially where you're allowing the fact that dinosaurs are a thing, you leave room for a certain exactly. And I would say out of movies, because as I've gotten older, I have gotten more critical. Now Scott's even more critical than me, but like I have gotten more critical where I point things out. And I would say overall, this movie did not have major plot problems. Like to me, the movie mostly made sense. Could have been shortened a little bit. Yes, but that's not a plot problem.
I'm not critical about plot problems is the only thing I'd say. I'm actually pretty forgiving about plot problems.
But I'm just saying in general, with things, you tend to be a harsher critic than I will. I'm a kind of an easy.
That's fair. You've yet to name a funny thing Vince Vaughn has ever done.
I've named several. I agree. I've named several. You just discounted them instantly.
Okay, if we want to talk about things we're critical about too, Jeff Goldblum's character Ian Malcolm, his official job title is a chaos theorist.
Yeah,
that's not a job. That's like a demonologist. That's like a real, like, what did you got your doctorate in things going wrong?
I've got a doctor. I've got a similar study in that, and it's called My Life. Like I've got 37 years in that business.
Like any of us could just start calling ourselves a chaos.
And we
theorist.
should.
No, we should.
We absolutely should start telling people we are chaos theorists.
Well, the key to that is who's going to question that?
Nobody.
And chaos theorist fucking Jeff Goldblum apparently had no idea his own kid snuck onto the plane.
Well, that's chaos theory, though.
Yeah, anything can happen, dude.
Okay, but then that's like being a fucking physicist and being like, yeah, you know what? Physics is complicated. I don't understand it. I'm just a physicist. Like, it's your job. It's your whole job.
Well, you are right in that, but I think in the sense of he's not a psychic. He doesn't say he's a psychic. He says he studies events in life and analyzes it through a chaos theory.
Maybe he should study his fucking kid.
Well, based on what his kid said, it sounded like he wasn't the best dad.
Yeah.
To be honest with you. It sounds like he was
definitely wasn't. Ian Malcolm is not the best dad in these series.
But we didn't even know he had a kid in the original Jurassic Park. He never brought it up.
He did bring up that he had 3 children, yeah.
Oh, so where are the other 2? He's still just he's still a deadbeat dad to these other 2 kids that didn't sneak on the plane?
Yes, he said he's always looking for his next Mrs. Malcolm. In the first film.
What a player.
There's a point where a woman calls him like a sex predator or something like 15 or 20 minutes in, actually.
Oh, man.
Right? She explicitly does.
Who?
No, you're right.
Julianne Moore, because she's like, I have a lot of experience dealing with predators, the T-Rexes, the raptors, you.
Yeah. I love that she tries to act like her not being around is a good girlfriend trait. Like, she literally is like, I'm the best girlfriend in the world. I'm never there.
I can't disagree, to be honest with you. You know what I mean?
Like, that's the whole point of dating.
A few of these once in a while, and I'm good to go.
Yeah.
I want to be left alone to watch my sports.
All right.
I disagree.
That's a bad girlfriend.
I'm kidding.
We do not endorse Eric Fady's extremely misogynist comments.
Well, you're on the podcast.
Just our own.
This is us at our most unhinged. I feel like I should say.
I'm actually trying
to re-record this episode. That was you wrangling us in?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I mean,
all right.
That's it.
Okay. Okay, Tyler, what do we got?
What do we got? This fucking movie. It was good stuff. I enjoyed it. Let's just, let's wrap this up. We're definitely buzzed, having a good time, and telling you guys content, but I want to keep it going too crazy. Well, so you already kind of told us how you feel about it. And now that you've seen both movies, which one did you like better?
Well, again, it's hard to explain because, again, I haven't really seen the other one in a long time. I mean, I've seen it, but it's been a long time. I've only watched bits and pieces. But I'll say, you know what? I really liked the movie we watched today. I never was, even though I said I thought it was a tick too long. Overall, that's just like, you can always point out something that can be better, in my opinion. Nothing's perfect. I thought it was good. And I should say, in my way of ringing things back in, this is a difficult thing. I'm not trying to be, it's a difficult thing to do 55 minutes of a show and then have to redo it. So we apologize. We really are focusing, if you've been watching us on social media, we're really focusing on trying to be really on the ball and more professional. This was just a tougher deal. So I'm not trying to, it is what it is, but.
Yeah, and I would say, like, if I was reviewing the movie, like I said before, great movie, underrated, the best movie besides the original. If I were reviewing our listeners, I'd say somebody should have left a comment that they couldn't hear us.
I know. Look, it is not your job. It isn't. It isn't your job.
No.
But a few people popped on and on. We know some people were watching. It would have been nice to be like, hey, just FYI, you guys aren't being heard. But it's all good.
To be fair, we haven't had it on the chat section this entire time.
I have, though. I did. We did the last time, and I was watching on my phone thing.
That's fair enough.
So,
well, thank you, thank you for helping us out with that. And okay, guys.
On a serious note.
Thank you for checking out our podcast. Thank you for liking our page. It's been insane the amount of just interaction you guys have given us over the last like 2.5 weeks with us being out on the road and putting out the videos, which we are going to continue to be doing. We're on YouTube. Check out, we will have an on the road episode coming up this week. And then on Monday,
we have a doozy of a fucking story.
We do have a doozy of a story. Can't wait. Yeah. Look forward to that. And then on Mondays, Eric does his show, the
Biggie Comedy Venture.
Yep, Big E Comedy Venture. There you go. And he does that with Amy. So check that out on Monday. Lots of content, lots of stuff coming at you. So check it out and continue doing what you're doing, which is being insanely supportive.
Yes, thank you so much. We joke, but it really means a lot.
It really does. Thank you. And we'll see you next week with a full episode.
And hopefully this one you'll hear.
Yeah.